Welcome to another edition of Penn State Sports Night. I'm your host, Robert Breck. Alongside me, Alex Blankman. We've got a great show for you tonight. Well, baseball fans, the day has finally arrived. The World Series is here and only two remain, the Mets and the Royals. The Mets made easy work of the Cubs, sweeping them in 4 games, while the Royals battled with the Blue Jays through Game 6. The series will start Tuesday in Kansas City with Matt Harvey pitching for the Mets and Edinson Volquez.
The New York Jets took on an undefeated New England Patriots in Foxborough on Sunday, and the Patriots remained undefeated. Despite the Jets having a fourth-quarter lead, Tom Brady was able to find Rob Gronkowski for a game-winning touchdown to sink the Jets 30-23 and remain undefeated. The Indianapolis Colts continue to struggle. Even in a home game against the lowly Saints, they went down 27-0 early in the third quarter. This is all thanks to 2 early interceptions by former number 1 pick Andrew Luck. The early turnovers ended up being the Colts' downfall as they fell to the Saints 27-21.
The undefeated Panthers silenced critics on Sunday Night Football with a dominating 27-16 victory over the Eagles to remain undefeated. Led by Thomas Davis and Luke Kuechly, the Carolina defense made plays all game, frustrating Chip Kelly and Sam Bradford. This was all despite Cam Newton having his worst game of the season, throwing 3 interceptions. With the loss, the Eagles moved to 3-4, yet they are only 1 game out of first place in the division. After years of excellence, the NFC East has become one of the worst divisions in football. At 2-4, the Cowboys are only 2 games behind the first-place Giants, who beat them 27-10 on Sunday. And don't forget about Kirk Cousins and the Redskins, who were tied for second after an impressive 31-30 victory over the Bucs.
Penn State came out with an ugly win on Saturday against Maryland to clinch their bowl eligibility for the second year in a row. Chris Godwin had a stellar day, hauling in 4 catches for 135 yards. Penn State quarterback Christian Hackenberg went 13 for 29 for 315 yards to become Penn State's all-time leading passer in completions and yards. The defense looked good as usual, forcing 3 interceptions and helping the Nittany Lions to a 31-30 victory.
USC upset third-ranked Utah over the weekend, winning convincingly 42-24. Utah quarterback Travis Wilson came to Saturday's game with just 3 interceptions, but more than doubled that number against the Trojans. Utah was favored to make the playoff, given its strong schedule and status as a favorite in what might be the country's strongest conference this season. The loss to USC, especially given the recent weeks of controversy, essentially ends Utah's hope of a national championship. What a weird year it's been in the SEC. Number 24 Ole Miss came back strong from its loss to Memphis last week, defeating the number 15 Texas A&M 23-3. Quarterback Chad Kelly, who threw for 2 touchdowns, led the Rebels. The Aggies, on the other hand, have questions at quarterback and serious offensive problems, only managing 3 points on Saturday.
The NBA is right around the corner, and with the season tipping off on Tuesday, there's a lot to be excited about, even on opening night. 3 members of the All-NBA first team will be taking the court, including LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers, who will travel to Chicago for their quest for the ring as they head to Chicago to take on Derrick Rose and the Bulls. Then, defending champions Golden State Warriors and reigning NBA MVP Stephen Curry look to pick up where he left off last season as he takes the court against the best young power forward in the game today, Anthony Davis.
We'll be right back with some more Penn State Sports Night.
Welcome back to Penn State Sports Night. Sam Del Rosso here alongside Brendan May, Alex Blankman. Guys, we're going to talk a little baseball. World Series Game 1 on Tuesday. What are you guys seeing from this game?
Well, I think that if you look at the matchup, this really works out pretty well for the Royals, I think. The Blue Jays would have been a little bit worse matchup for the Mets because they're prone to striking out. The Royals are the team that struck out the least in the MLB this season. They do swing out of the zone a little bit. They have the highest out-of-zone swing percentage in all of MLB, but of course they make contact on all of those swings or most of those swings. So I think that against the Mets power pitchers who try and expand the zone, try and throw hard stuff, the Royals' contact approach is really going to work out well.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, personally, the way I look at it is the Royals are the least strikeouts in baseball, but the Mets, hands down, have the best pitching rotation in baseball. They have all season. And now with the added bats, I really think the Mets are going to make a splash here in the World Series. And I think this is going to be a great series for the New York Mets.
2 teams you would have never predicted in the World Series in April. And like you said, Alex, the pitching rotations for both teams are really, really strong. So what are you seeing through Game 5? That's what the pitching rotation is through right now. What are you seeing from the pitching?
Well, on TBS's graphic in the bottom right, there's going to be a lot of fire logos going this postseason. The Mets starters light it up. All 4 of their starters throw 95 and above, including Noah Syndergaard, who touches 100. Jacob deGrom throws 99. Yordano Ventura is one of the hardest throwing starters in the MLB. He gets his curveball, that's right, his curveball, up to 88 miles per hour, one of the fastest throwers in baseball. It's going to be a fun series. It might be a quick game because the pitchers are going to be not spending that much time in the air, I don't think.
And maybe for the sake of baseball viewership, I think everyone's going to be happy that the games might be pretty quick. Maybe not the highest scoring games, but at the same time, there's not going to be a lot of strikeouts, so a lot of contact made, like we were saying earlier. And I think this is a huge series for Johnny Cueto over every other pitcher because you look at the Mets rotation, they're all young. Let's say it just does not go well for whatever reason this World Series, then you go on to the next year and the Mets still have a great rotation. But Johnny Cueto has above a 7 ERA in the playoffs. He has not looked good this entire playoffs. And if he cannot pitch well against Jacob deGrom, arguably the best pitcher in the National League this past season, it just might be that type of series.
And Cueto's fighting for a free agent contract as well. He's a free agent at the end of the season, not having a great postseason doesn't really bode too well for him.
Obviously, a competitive series. Do you think home field advantage plays a part in any of this?
I think that home field advantage will play a part. The Mets fans are definitely going to get out and be loud like they were the entire time. The Royals fans, we've seen it with the Chiefs before. Kansas City fans,
We saw it with the Royals fans last year.
if their teams are successful, they'll get behind them. The Kansas City Royals fans and the New York Mets fans are both going to be loud as crazy.
Maybe all the teams just take the home games, and this is a 7-game series. Who knows?
All right, and predictions for this series, Brendan?
I think the Royals are going to take it in 6 games. I think that they have the stronger team. The contact-oriented approach is going to work out.
I'll take Mets in 6. The pitching is just too good.
Hello and welcome back to Penn State Sports Night. Alex and I made the trek all the way over from our other studio. Now over here talking some best and worst for you. What's your first best of the week, Alex?
All right, my best of the week is going to the undefeated Carolina Panthers, a team that played the Eagles on Sunday night, nationally televised game for everyone to see. Cam Newton looked great, but it wasn't just Cam Newton. It was the defense, too. Jared Allen, Josh Norman, Thomas Davis, and Luke Kuechly are a dynamic foursome on that defense. They will continue to wreak havoc this whole year. I think the Panthers are absolutely legit.
My best of the week, and this is breaking news almost on Penn State Sports Night. Torrey Hunter has retired from the Minnesota Twins after a long career with several teams, most of them in the American League. He started out as a center fielder, a really strong center fielder, known really well for making that diving catch or home run robbing catch, I should say, Barry Bonds in the All-Star game. Torrey Hunter, interesting fact about him, he came from a humble upbringing, accidentally brought his dad's crack pipe to school one day. Alex, who's your worst of the week?
My worst of the week is the Houston Texans' Bill O'Brien and Arian Foster. The Houston Texans dropped to 2-4 on the season. Arian Foster tore his Achilles, despite the fact he shouldn't have been in the game in the first place. They were down 44-0 to the Dolphins, and you got to keep your guys healthy, especially when guys are as injury-prone as Arian Foster. So a terrible coaching job by former Penn State coach Bill O'Brien. It's a shame for the Houston Texans organization, but Arian Foster's season is officially over.
My worst of the week, Alex, is all 31 teams in the NFL except the New England Patriots, who won again to go to 6-0. I know there are other undefeated teams in the NFL, the Panthers, Packers, Broncos, they're all playing strong. But the entire NFL is struggling. FanDuel and DraftKings are in a lot of heat, and that's a big deal for the NFL. That's a lot of sponsorship money right there. If that goes away, that could be a major problem. And also, there are 2 terrible divisions in football. The AFC South, which has the Colts leading at 3-4. That's the first time a losing record has been leading the division in Week 7 of the NFL. And the NFC East, the Dallas just lost their 4th straight game, and now the Giants are in first place in the NFC East, almost by default. So that's going to do it for us for best and worst. Alex Blankman, I'm Brendan May. That's going to wrap it up for us for the entirety of Penn State Sports Night. We'll see you next week.